Hello, my name is Manuel Cota or Nacho Cota, and in this video I will talk a little bit about what I learned and what concepts I understood from this Tech Week Art of Emotion. So the first activity was an exploration of emotions and feelings through creating different atmospheres. So, for example, the first thing that we did was listening to a 80 audio song, which was uh, Bohemian Rhapsody. And then we had an activity where we were blindfolded and we had to walk around an unusual space listening to different kinds of music. And so I think that in that context that you were experiencing new things and emotions, what the emotions that we experience are, and how the things that are around us affect our emotions and our ability to perceive things in a different way. The second activity was about personal consumption trends, and this activity made me realize that, art is not just about paintings or sculptures in a museum, but art is all around us in music and everything we do, from photographs or DIY things, or even our own likes and activities that we do. It's all around us that we can also create art from the things that we like and we do. And so seeing that everyone has different things and abilities and things that they like means that art is not just one thing. That art can is art is not supposed to be just one thing. It's not supposed to be just things in a museum or something like that. It can be anything that we can give meaning and artistic value to it. One of the activities was attending a national panel with Beto Castillo and Omar Rojas, and learning about how we create emotion and a great experience in art. And Beto Castillo is a really great personality in the art world because he's done voice acting, show production, musical productions. He's been a stage performer, so he's been in many different areas of art. And Omar Rojas is a musical creator. He's created soundtracks, orchestra pieces, different types of music from classical to pre-Hispanic to European music. So he's really all over the place. But the things that they said that are really striking was that the experience of art starts from the very first moment that someone learns about an exhibition or musical or this or that, when they buy the ticket, when they are waiting to enter the piece of art they're going to see. And so there's a lot of things involved in the experience of art, not just the piece of art itself, and also that emotion plays a really big part into how we perceive art. So, for example, when we provoke art, when we provoke thought through art, that is a reaction to what we create. And also, we can't just have emotion be all high or all low, otherwise our audience will lose interest in what we are doing. We have to control it through having different peaks of really high tension moments with low relaxing moments, so that it slowly builds a pace between the different times of our acts. And also, many of the times we are working with limitations on budget, time frames, or crew, and we have to work around it. We have to think outside the box to know how we are going to create solutions for this. And that's part of the experience too, that of art, that you have to work with what you have, and in the end you have to create this very uh, amazing thing from nothing, because that's art, creating something from nothing. And also something that's really important is that your audience understands the context of your work. For example, if you're talking about Mexican culture, well, your audience must know at least a little bit about Mexican culture, or European culture if you're talking about Europe or something like that. Because if they don't, well, the meaning gets lost in translation. In the collaborative activities, what we did was analyze different pieces of art and how the context and the personal views of the artist affect each one. For example, in my team, we talked about installation art and Yayoi Kusama, which is a very famous installation artist. And her thing is that she has a mental illness where she sees polka dots everywhere. So the polka dot pattern is repeated in infinity. So all her art and work is based on the infinity concept and how polka dots for her are everywhere. And so through this installation art of lights and mirrors, she can recreate her own experience and what she sees in the world. We also talked about a BBC collaboration project, which was the Swan Lake performed in different bathtubs. And this was particularly important during this time because it was made during this COVID-19 pandemic. So seeing the this piece Swan Lake performed in a very different way that we are accustomed to made it seem that it's not that far out or different from everything else. And it seems so constrained and confined that even though the movements were graceful and were actually part of what would you see on stage, each of the performers had their own individuality and were very much apart from this experience of creating Swan Lake. But at the same time, even though they were making this collaborative effort, each one had their own input and unique style to their dance. Another piece we analyzed that where context is very important was the Starry Night, based on a video by Maggie Roberts from the BBC and ArtZoom. And what she talks about is that, this piece represents the mental state of Van Gogh when he was entering Saint Remy de Provence. And it is really striking to see the little details about the moon and the stars that look like eyes, and how the swirly background contrasts a lot with the rigid city. And so, these activities were really important because we learn about how context and personal experience affects the artwork we create, and how that also helps in creating experience for others, and how art can be used to transmit emotions and our own thoughts into different art pieces. Like, another
They
important
were
part of this
costumes
collaborative
more than
process that we
anything. Like
did
when you didn't
was
see
that
like
each one
this
had their own
people
input,
behind
even though we
the
saw the
puppets,
same
like when it was
things.
really dark or
Each of
that
us had
the
their
light
different
only
opinions on things. For example,
shine
here in this
on them.
part, Valeria
Um,
had
it really looked
a
like they were
different opinion
costumes,
on the
or
puppets,
some
and
of
she said
them
that they
were
were really scary,
costumes,
but
or
I
where
saw that they
you
were
could really
really
hide
beautiful and very articulate,
the
and they
actors
almost
inside
looked
of
like
them.
costumes.
Uh-huh.
But at the
I
same
feel the
time, we
same.
also agreed that this play was really about how Mexican culture is slowly disappearing and how we needed to go back to the roots. And so I think that in this part, it was really important for each of us to give our own input on what we saw. And at the same time, we both learn from each other. So, what did I learn from this? Tech Week? Well, I learned that art is not just art that's in a museum. Art is all around us. It's in our daily lives. But also art is really tied to experience and emotion. So when we are walking through a museum or we see a piece, it's really important to know the context to really understand the impact that this artist was trying to do. And the experience all around us is what makes every different art piece that we see so powerful. Art should be a provocation of thought because it's created from our own personal issues, our views, the society and the context around us, and what we like, what we dislike, and the end product of all of this is something that reflects all of that context that is all around us. And art is a really powerful tool because it could also be a change maker, not by itself really, because art does nothing by itself, but the provocation of thought that art makes, that's what can be the game changer. And a really powerful quote that I wrote this week and that I really like is, I'm going to read it right now, is that although art by itself does not make change, it is a spark that ignites it. So that is my final thoughts on this week. I hope you like this video, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye bye.